I did a video on why GMC guys would never buy a Ford Super Duty. Now, we gotta talk about why Ford guys will never buy a GMC. And this might be helpful for the manufacturers because I do hear these statements a lot in the comment section, and which is why I'm starting to do these videos. Now, I did borrow this truck from Garff Ford here in West Valley, Utah. This truck is available for sale. I keep finding every type of King Ranch possible. So for 2026, I have a lot of videos you can look at next year if you're looking to buy one of these trucks used. Let's go ahead and check out the window sticker. And if you do want to buy this truck, be sure to ask for Ken. At the top is the description. And then these are the colors. And then this is a short listing of the standard features. Be sure to pause so you can see more, okay? Now this truck has the works, so I don't want to go through every single option that it does have, but power stroke is there. It's going to be the high output, all-weather match, Tremor off-road package, has the safe, rapid heat, engine block heater, pro power, clearance lights, yes, clearance lights. You don't normally see these on these trucks. Also has the upgraded wheel well liners too, secure code, twin panel, upfitter switches, and then max recline pretty much finishes off those options. But base price is $79,375. I don't ever point this out, but you see how much options cost on this truck? Most of that's going to be the diesel though. Destination is $27.95 with a total price of $105,465. And I know what some of you guys are thinking. Even if you try to get a GMC Sierra 3500 to $105,000, it's not even possible, right? Well, remember, this truck does have the Tremor package, and sadly, you can't get the AT4X package on a 3500. So technically, this truck is in a class of its own if you're comparing it to the GMC Sierra. Now, one thing I do like about the King Ranch package is it's something different. I've mentioned this a lot. Blackout is definitely still in, but man, everyone has blackout, whether it be the wheels, whether it be the badging, you name it, is out there. King Ranch is really in the class of its own because it's the only truck you can get two-tone paint. And I do like the MARSH gray with the black. This is, I think, my first time seeing it. I like it better on white too, so I'll probably go start white with the MARSH gray. But yeah, you get some chrome on the front end. That way you can just dress up this cowboy truck. And I will say, GM does some unique things, but they do mismatch their trucks. So either give me chrome or give me black chrome, Vader chrome, whatever they want to call it. And I think overall, this is a really nice style truck. Now let's just say you want a winch on your pickup and you're looking at the GMC Sierra HD. The only way you can get a winch on a Sierra is in the 3/4 ton segment, and you have to get the AT4X. Also, you have to spend almost $10,000 to get the AEP edition, and then you would have the option to get the winch, but you can't get it from the factory. You still would have to do it aftermarket. One thing I like about Ford is this Tremor package is super expensive. So let's just say, you know what? I don't want to spend, the $4,500 for the Tremor package, and then that winch is going to be another $4,400. So let's just say you could just skip the Tremor package basically, and then just get the winch, and then you can do your own upgrades to your truck. That is an option. Although I will say, one thing I like about this truck with the Tremor package is these trucks do have solid front axles, and some people will say that's a big advantage over the independent front suspension that the GMC has. But with the Tremor package, it does give you a limited slip front diff. Even if you get the AT4X with the 8V edition, it's going to have an open diff. And I can assure you, that's not good for going off-road, especially in the mud. Now, I do like the tires here. These are the Goodyear Wrangler Duratrax. I almost forgot. And here's a quick peek at the sidewall. So these are basically 34.8 inches tall, 11.2 inches in width. And you guys see right here, that's the actual size of the tire, LT 285/75/18. But they do have big capacity. 4,080 pounds at 80 psi code. I like the wheel design, and I probably would get the Tremor package just so I can skip those wheels on the King Ranch for sure. But here's a side view. You have the option to get the power to pull running boards or the high clearance steps. I like that. Now, as far as the mirrors go, I won't get controversial with you guys, but Ford has good mirrors. I need to do a video on my GMC mirrors because there's some things I don't like about it. You do have the blind spot alert. They are heated, power folding, power tow mode. You can see some of the cameras and make up that 360 camera view. And one thing I like about these newer King Ranch trucks is, even though the truck should be chromed out, they do paint the door handles, top of the mirror caps right there. So I like the amount of chrome on this truck. And if you do want to delete some of it, there's a lot of aftermarket companies that do sell like the pieces for the grill basically. And man, these high clearance steps really do help with the overall design of this off-road truck. Here's that security code. Smart key systems on the front doors only. And then here is that back bed. This is like 6 foot 8 inches, 34-gallon fuel tank, also 7-gallon DEF. And one thing I like about the Ford is they do give you a skid plate on their off-road truck. If you want a skid plate for your GMC, not available. They also give you one for that transfer case right there. Here's that Tremor badge. And by the way, here's a quick peek at that suspension too. I wish I could tell you that the truck had full LED taillights, but King Ranch does not give that to you still. But I do like the applique. It's a satin finish, so it's not a bright chrome. I wish all the chrome was like this. It'd be perfect. Class 5 hitch. You have a 7-inch 4-pin. And then down below, you guys can see, they do give you an off-road tire that matches what's on the truck. Tremor tuned suspension. You can get the 355 without the Tremor package, and with the GM trucks you cannot change it. It's just 342. And one thing I like about this one, it does have electronic locker. If you're trying to look for an equivalent truck like this, you would pretty much have to build a GMC Sierra 3500 Denali Ultimate, and again, it's not going to give you this off-road prowess that the Ford gives you with the Tremor package. 2,000 watts of power is available in the bed. With the GMC, you only get 400 watts. You see the bed lights? I like the fact that Ford gives you a button back here to turn these on and off. With the GM trucks, you have to do it inside the truck. So if you forget to do that, you got to go back in, turn them on. I like that they give you a button back here. Also, full LED high mount, and it does have a camera for bed view. This is where things kind of go downhill for the GM truck, simply because GM is like the good old boys. They're very slow to do updates to their powertrains. Now, it's been said that in the HD segment, Ford and GM have the same 10 speeds. Now, that's not true. They're very different, but they could have been designed together. Just they're not executed the same. This is the high output Power Stroke. It's very expensive. $13,000+ engine, as you guys saw on the window sticker. Now, you can't get the standard output with the Tremor package for 2026. So if this is just too much money, you can save a couple $1,000s and get the standard output. That's going to have 475 horsepower and 1,050 pound-feet of torque. Still more power than GM's only diesel option, and this one has 500 horsepower and 1,200 pound-feet of torque. Now, as far as the 10-speed behind it, I don't hear as much failures with that 10R140, but on the GM side, there are more failures with that 10-speed. So again, they are different overall. Now, this truck does still have the CP4, but if you run a good additive, that should keep it happy. And this skip biodiesel. Let's go and check out the interior. The GMC Sierra does not have a dedicated cowboy truck. The Denali Ultimate trim does kind of play two roles. Like, it is the ultra luxury interior, but some people might still call that more of a cowboy interior. But at the end of the day, this is truly the cowboy interior. And you have features that are not even available on that GMC, like this max recline seat. So if you do travel cross country and maybe you just want to catch up on a quick nap, you can lay these seats all the way down and sleep inside these seats. Even this bottom cushion kind of pushes up a little bit to match right here. You also have a power steering column, not available on the GMCs, no matter what trim you get, nor power pedal. So you have more functionality to give you more comfort. And let's go ahead and knock it out. I'm sure someone's waiting for me to talk about this. Let me go ahead and step up here. You see right here? This is where GM is continuing to lose. And if they continue to lose in 2027, shame on them. These seats are big, they're wide, and they're very supportive. Some people will claim that GMCs are too stiff, and maybe they are. For me, they're fine. But this is probably the softest seat in the segment. I like the overall design with this King Ranch 2. I would definitely rock this if I were in the market for another truck. Now out back here, I would say that Ford and GM are kind of a tie when it comes down to rear seat like comfort. And you guys see right here, you have outboard heated seats, 120 volt power plug. Now I do like this collapsible storage. GM just has fixed storage. So if you do have a big dog, or if you need to carry something inside the truck that might be very, very valuable, you can collapse this down and have a solid floor surface, or pretty close to it, I would say. Both trucks do have the 60/40 bench. Let's go ahead and check out the passenger side. On this side, you see that King Ranch badge right there. Massage seats. I didn't talk about it over there because I wanted to talk about it on this side. Front seats are massage, top and bottom. GM only gives you top. Also, you have this cover here. Love the design. You can see the ranch that they give you. Nice storage, more storage. You would have to opt for a camper package, and I believe you can't get camper package with Tremor package. So be sure to do your research if you are looking to set up a truck that way. Dual climate control, heated and ventilated seats, heated steering wheel, that wireless chargers in here, and here's that center console. Now let's go ahead and take this truck for a quick drive, because this is probably the most controversial part of this video, the ride. Now, one thing people will talk about with GM HDs is how great their rides are. And I agree. Their rides are really, really composed. Just like this Ford truck. Whether you get this Tremor package or not, I don't know how Ford did it, but their solid front axle does not affect the overall comfort of this truck. And because you do have a taller tire on this one, it rides just a little bit better. Now, sometimes they do lower the tire pressure slightly, so you have to do your research there, but in reality, this truck rides super nice. Like on this back bumpy road, I don't think most people will notice a big difference between Ford and GM. So yes, if you are in the market for a Ford truck, they do ride really, really nice. Now you guys can see right there, you can't get this in a GMC. You only get a standard sunroof. Also, you don't have as nice of a readout here on those trucks. But let's go ahead and check out the Payload, because that's probably another issue that GM's gonna have to solve for their next generation of trucks. The front gross axle weight rating is gonna be 5,600 pounds. The rear is 7,050 pounds. They do reduce that with the Tremor package. Gross vehicle weight rating is 12,000 pounds even. And you guys see right there, 18 by 8 wide wheels. That axle code is gonna be a 3J. Remember, 355 with the locker. And then all-in payload capacity is 3,929 pounds. Tire pressure out front 60, which is going to be the same for all F350s, single rear wheel. But that rear is 75 PSI now. So they do reduce that slightly, which is probably why the axle rating went down too. The reason why this truck's going to have more payload compared to the GM trucks is simply because of the aluminum body. So whenever you're comparing apples to apples, Ford has the most payload because of that. Now, if Ram and GM decided to start using aluminum, that would change things. And I would think that if Ram decided to do it now, their trucks would have the most payload, because their trucks would probably be the lightest because they are smaller in cab and bed. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Be sure to leave your comments below. Do you guys agree with me? Is it hard for you to buy a GM product over this simply because of some of the things I mentioned? I think the biggest issue is the seats. A lot of people have complained on a lot of my videos about GM seats. So let me know your thoughts down below.